What is up guys, Stu here. And if you thought I was even slightly considering slowing down on these London Film Festival reviews, you thought wrong, bitches. Because I went and saw the Florida Project twice at the film festival. Let's talk about that shit. So The Florida Project is a new film from Sean Baker, who directed Tangerine a couple of years back, which is a really great little film shot entirely on an iPhone. So yeah, that's cool. But I truthfully hadn't really followed a huge amount about this film before seeing it. It's only up until like a month or so before when I heard people saying, yeah, this is really quite something, that I started to get a little bit excited for it. So I went and saw it at the festival. I had a press screening, so I was up early watching it. And I loved this film so much, I bought a ticket to go see it with my girlfriend at the weekend coming up. So I saw it twice, which I think says it all, really. I mean, I don't even really need to do a full review after that, but I'm gonna anyway. So the film is essentially the story about these children and their families who are living in hotels on this highway just outside of Disneyland. They're in poverty, so they don't actually have a permanent place to live, so they're kind of drifting between these different hotel rooms. And there is a long list of wonderful things about this film, but the first of those for me is the performances that Sean Baker's able to get out of his cast here. And it's a cast which is made up pretty much entirely out of people I've never seen act before and who aren't actually professional actors at all. I mean, we have got people like Willem Dafoe in there, who is a fantastic actor and who does give a really lovely, wonderful performance as the owner of the hotel that these guys are living in. I thought he was a joy to watch. I thought he worked fantastically off of the children. But the children in this film, holy shit, this is legitimately some of the best child performances I think I've ever seen, to be honest. There's this little girl called Brooklyn Prince in the lead role as Mooney, and she is such a revelation. Holy shit, I didn't know that little kids had it in them to do performances like this, but she completely blew me away. She's just unbelievably sassy, which is a joy to watch. She's just shouting at people on the highway, and it's amazing. The way she shouts, "Lady!" is incredible. I just embarrassed myself. It was worth it. There's a couple of scenes towards the end of this film in particular where she stunned me. And it is such a rich, blurry kind of landscape of emotions for a child to be going through. I don't know how she tapped into that and nailed it, but she did, and she was a joy to watch. I absolutely loved her performance here. But the other children in the film are equally as wonderful to watch. They're played by Valeria Cotto, who plays her best friend. She was great to watch, and it's a good little kind of binary against Mooney's character, in that Mooney's like this mischievous kid, and then Valeria Cotto's character is a little bit quieter, and I like seeing that between them, the differences in the child performances. But the adults in the film as well are really great. Mooney's mum in the film is played by another person who has not done any acting before this, called Brie Vinate. I think I'm saying her name right, but I'm probably not. And she could have fooled me, because it feels like she's been acting for a long time. And her relationship with the character of Mooney in the film was really beautifully realised. I genuinely felt like I was watching a mother and her daughter throughout the entire film. But Sean Baker's direction here is something to be admired as well. I absolutely think he's smashed out of the park. He's managed to create a film which deals with some very heavy topics and subjects, but it never feels like that's the point of the film. It never feels like a film which is just like, oh, look how bad these people in poverty are, let's all feel sorry for them. And I think the main reason he's been so successful as that is in the way of framing it around the children in the film, as opposed to all the adults and the big events that are going on in their lives. And so all the big kind of dramatic events of the film that you might expect to see at the forefront in other dramas really feel like they're happening on the periphery of this child's perspective. It's a really interesting way of going through this, and I actually think it makes it more effective for that. It's seeing the way that the children are reacting to that, or are in many cases oblivious to that, which really heightens the impact of those events on the people and the families around them. On a technical level, Sean Baker's direction is stunningly realised. It's a very colourful film. The hotel that they're in, bright pink, it's all done up like a little castle, and I think that's a really interesting element to the film there. But it also does a very good job of literally putting the audience on the level of the children throughout the most part of the film. The camera stays by the height of the children for certain elements, and there are certain moments where the camera will change height. Whereas his last film, Tangerine, was shot obviously on an iPhone, and that was the big thing about that film. He's decided to go for a 35mm film shooting on this one, and I think that lends itself incredibly well to the story he's showing here. And it adds this real kind of warmth and comfort to a lot of the stuff that's happening in this film. The moments where it's just these children playing with each other, going on adventures, are some of the more wonderful and lovely moments I've seen in film this year. I just think it's incredibly powerful and beautiful and wonderful. It's all those adjectives and more. And it left me weeping. It's another one of the films from the festival this year that left me crying. But this one, in a way, which is different to how the other films have been making me cry. And I can't quite pin it, but it was for me quite an incredibly cathartic experience in terms of its emotions. I found emotion in some of the smallest moments in the film. And I think it's because Sean Baker's managed to create characters which feel incredibly real, and the relationships between them feel incredibly real as well. And in fact, there are certain sequences in the film which integrate just pedestrians, real life people that they managed to get in the film for certain sequences. And it adds this kind of layer of authenticity to it all. So it very much does feel like we're a fly on the wall of these kids' lives, and that we are actually watching the way that these characters would naturally do things. And so the emotional beats of the film feel much more honest and earned. And yeah, the climax of this film, it really did get me. I was a bit of a wreck. But it's also where I could and have seen a lot of people finding complaints, because the final 20 seconds of this film, without spoiling anything, it does make a very obvious choice in its aesthetic and the way it decides to tell the story. I mean, I would be lying if I stood here and said I didn't find it jarring slightly, but I also think that it's intentionally jarring there. It's obviously very different to the rest of the film. And I think it's all too easy just to sort of dismiss it because it was jarring. I actually think the intentions behind it and the way they went about doing that are really fascinating to me. I really enjoyed the end of this film. I thought it was poignant and moving and a really fitting end to these kids' stories. It works with the characters we've been growing throughout the film with. I loved it. It's easily one of my favourite films of the year. As it stands, it's in the top 3 films of the year for me at the moment. I just loved it with my whole heart. It made me feel everything. I honestly, I can't recommend it enough. I'm going to go ahead and give The Flora Project a very well-deserved 5 stars. But what about you guys? Have you seen The Flora Project yet? I know it's been sort of gradually releasing in the US in a staggered release across different cities. If you've got a chance to go and see it yet, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. I'd love to know. And let me know how you thought about the ending as well, because I think that's going to be a main part of discussion for a lot of people on this film. It comes out next week over here in the UK, I believe, on Friday the 10th of November. Probably on limited release, as all of the best films seem to be doing at the moment. It's really annoying, but if you do get a chance to see it, let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. That'd be amazing. And as usual, if you like this review and want to see me talk about more shit, please consider clicking subscribe. But until next time, stay beautiful, mother truckers. Sinead O'Connor, back again. I'm going to go this way this time, because this side of the screen feels a bit lonely. I'm popping up again just to let you know that my London Film Festival playlist is here in all its glory, filling up nicely. But if you want to check out my thoughts on any of the films I've seen at the film festival this year, it's all in there. Just click through, pick the film, look at my thoughts, let me know what you thought on the film and or review. Tasty. That's me done. I'm going down this time. Oh my word, what a plot twist.